Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the final day here, the final day of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals playoffs. We are here. I'm of course your host, Live VIP, with me I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome, welcome, one and all. We are here, we are back, and it's been a very intense week of StarCraft, going through the group stage of LiuLi Cup and going through the playoffs as well. And now we're here to crown our champion. Let's go. Let's go as we can switch things over and catch up on the bracket itself. Again, if you've missed out on the previous group stage and on the playoffs, I do highly recommend the VODs. We've had some amazing games, some amazing matches, some high profile back and forths until this moment, of course, until the final day. Catching up when it comes to the bracket overall, we had Maru. He took down Clem 3-2. Again, that was still the highlight of day one. Clem versus Maru. We finally got them after years. They finally played and we got what we wanted. We had an ace match. We went all the way to the ace match. That could have gone either way. Maru barely took down Clem 3-2, then had a stronger showing against Reynor, if you recall, non-stop macro late game in that semifinals match until making it to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Cyril, he himself also had his own road to the finals, taking down Beyond 3-1 and Rogue 3-0 as well. So we do have our two finalists, Maru versus Cyril. But before the grand finals, it is time for the bronze match, the third place match here. As you can see, there's still money on the line for Reynor and for Rogue. It's a little bit less in line, of course, as they cannot progress further in the tournaments and progress further in towards the finals. But regardless, there is still money on the line, and we're here to cover that bronze match. So it's going to be first a bronze match followed by the grand finals thereafter. It's going to be a best of 5 between Reynor and Rogue. It will be a best of 7 between Maru and Cyril. Also a big shout out to LiuLi. For those who do not know, LiuLi is Saber. LiuLi is the main organizer and Chinese caster of this event, bringing this all together. Has been hosting LiuLi Cups throughout the course of 2025 and now leading into, of course, the end of year grand finals, which is just now taking place. Oh boy. Likewise, we're finally catching up. If you recall, because January was so busy, or because we were so unavailable in January, we actually had to catch up on a bunch of tournaments, on LiuLi Cup, on Thunderfire, on Home Story Cup. We were able to catch up on all those events, and now we're here catching up with LiuLi Cup just in time for RSL, right? RSL did begin this week, the rival StarCraft League, and of course we'll be covering the playoffs of the RSL as well. We won't be covering the group stage though. The group stage, you know, the main casters they go you covered there will be there for the playoffs, so that'll be in a couple of weeks. But we're actually catching up, and let's jump on in. Up first, we do have our ZvZ Reynor versus Rogue. Game 1 is going to be on Ruby Rock. Jumping into game 1, just catching up in the chat. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. We found ourselves another ZvZ. Now, if you were here yesterday, you would have seen us covering Rogue versus Cyril, and Rogue was hyper aggressive. I mean, so was Cyril. Cyril, he also had his own all-ins, but Rogue, he was very much so in the face of Cyril, looking to end the game, looking to kill early on and catch Cyril off guard with a bunch of all-ins and some cheekier builds. I'm sure that Reynor was also watching, right? I'm sure he was also paying attention. I'm sure he even spoke to Cyril thereafter as well, kind of discussing some of those games, as of course they are good friends. So we'll see if Rogue has something different up his sleeve, and I'm sure he does. Like, Rogue can be a very versatile and very chaotic player in ZvZ. Just because we saw him at S5 previously doesn't mean he's going to do the same builds again. It's going to be up to Reynor to keep up. Now, Reynor, similar to Cyril, also is hyper aggressive in ZvZ. We mentioned this previously, but Cyril, this kind of nature, or this perception of Cyril being like nothing but a macro machine, that was the case years ago. But nowadays, especially in ZvZ, Cyril is willing to be more aggressive and cheesy and all in. I can say the same for Reynor as well. Oh boy. Can say the same. Again, they're both very strong players in their own rights. They're both very close in skill. Again, we did see Reynor almost defeat Cyril in ZvZ back in EWC at the Esports World Cup. That was, of course, a couple of months ago. We'll see how they compare this time. Just setting up the title. From here so far, hatch gas pool, right? Hatch gas pool, standard openers out of both players. We can see here that Rogue does pull out a gas. Likewise, Reynor does pull out as well. Okay, so everything's looking as it should be. Everything's looking normal. If you recall, in the previous ZvZ, there were some indications of earlier aggression, whereas we had some people pulling out a gas a little bit harder or staying in gas. Staying in gas would be indicative of a roach rush or a bane bust. Pulling out even further off of gas would be indicative of a Ling flood. But so far we're 2-2. So everything's looking normal, everything's looking standard. Rogue does expand here towards his opponent, so does Reynor. And welcome to Re-Rock. Welcome to Re-Rock. Re-Rock is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored, the shorter rush distance by ground. So from here we can be more assertive coming in towards the mid game, assuming we do skip the Ling Bane phase, or we just go into Ling Bane then into Roaches. Here come the Bane nest for both players, and we'll see if anyone commits into a Ling Flood. Who commits? Back, who commits? EWC was so close to. I mean, I'll be honest, EWC should have been Reynor winning. Like, to be honest, like, even he said it himself. Like, he just got overconfident. He made some mistakes, like in some of the more crucial moments. Like EWC was so heartbreaking for Reynor. It was like, feels bad, man. Feels bad. For now though, speaking of early rushes and early aggression, early Roach Warren. So Reynor is going to commit early on. Roach Warren has been thrown down. He's going for the all-in. He's going for the all-in. Meanwhile, Rogue is playing standard so far. Rogue is droning. Ooh, Rogue is droning. Rogue is saturating. Rogue is another way. He's still making more drones. He is making some safety banelings, which is nice. No, and that's going to be great against Ling Bane, but not so much against Roaches. Checking Rogue's vision, he did not get into the main. He did not get a further Ling Scut into the bases. Rogue is playing blind. He's going for his own standard Roach Warren timing instead, and we'll see if Reynor can break through. We'll see. Oh, he scouts! Big scout. Big moment here. The Ling does slip in. Reynor out of position. Yeah, Reynor was out of position. He does move out across the map, surrounds the queen. Not bad. Queen does fall. Banelings, they turn away the Zerglings. Going for the other queen. Oh my god. It does go in, and nice connections here by Reynor. Breaks into the main, he's got one Baneling left. You know, no mass pappy baits out the Baneling, and that's going to be 4 more workers. And remember, behind this, we can start making Roaches, but Reynor knows he's been scouted, and Reynor drones. Okay, so very nice damage here by Reynor, getting 10. Oh, he wants a queen! He gets it! The second queen goes down. Ay, 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 GG, and Reynor, without even needing to use his Roach Warren, Reynor, he does deal critical damage, wins game number 1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Again, Reynor, he was building up towards this Roach Warren, building up into a Roach all-in, and getting ready for his aggression. Before that even happened, he was able to find some damage early on with some Ling Bane. Not even that much, by the way, but a reason why this dealt so much damage was that Rogue was droning, if you recall. We were pointing that out. Rogue was droning quite heavily. He had less to defend, but he was outpositioned, right? Like, he had the tools to defend. I should emphasize that. He had his Banelings. Despite that, Queen got surrounded. Lings, I slipped by the Banelings. We had Reynor with his own connections and surrounded another Queen. GG. GG, well played. With that, Reynor takes the lead in the series. Now we're going to be loading into game number 2, and we'll see if Rogue can bounce back and recover. That was a very intense early game, but remember, that map does favor that kind of intensity. As we load into larger maps, that's where you can be a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more calm, cool, collected, and build up into your own game state. And here we go. Up next, going to be loading into Celestial Enclave. This is the most macro map in the map pool, and we can even go for something like a gasless opener. We'll get into it. We'll see if anyone takes the bait. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, here we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. We go, and loading into Celestial Enclave, there's a very unique feature here, and that is the pocket expansion. You have a free base here on the left hand side, which can be taken as a natural, as a third, as a fourth base. Likewise, we have our standard natural base here on the right hand side as well. Now, what's important isn't just that there's a pocket base. What's also important is that this natural has a ramp. Right, there's a ramp coming into the natural, so it is very easy to cut corners, go gasless, and wall off this ramp with an Eva chamber, with a Roach Warren, and with a Queen fully wall this up, or even just fully wall it up with another Evo chamber, and just be hyper greedy, take another expansion, and then go into either like a roach all-in, go into muta play, or just build up into three bases or 2.5 bases as quickly as possible. So we'll see if anyone skips their gases. So far, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Reynor, standard opener out of Rogue. No one cuts any corners. Okay. I still stand by that it is viable, more so on this map than others, to go for something like a gasless opener, but neither one does attempt that. And not here. So far, standard builds. Because it is a little bit more defendable here, muta play is a little more accessible on Celestial Enclave. We have seen a lot of muta versus muta on this map. When I say a lot, more than usual. I mean, at all is more than usual. But we'll see. So now we're droning, we're saturating. And once again, we'll keep an eye on our players to see if anyone deviates away. If anyone stays in gas, pulls even harder out of gas. Show us what you got. So we go Reynor, he does pull one out, and so does Rogue. Standard build so far. This means that both players should not be skipping their Bailey nests, and we should be expanding, claiming our third. There we go, third base for Reynor, third base for Rogue. So far so good. My one big criticism for Rogue last game was his delayed scout. It took a long time for his links to get into the bases. Scouting would be paramount, and Reynor, he's going for the Evo chamber, and he is skipping his Bailey nest. Okay, so we're skipping the nest, going straight into the Evo chamber. From here, we can go into a Roach Horn, and we can go into early +1 Carapace in towards heavy Roach play in the mid game. Okay, so Reynor once again shifting gears. Meanwhile, Rogue, he is playing standard. So Bailey nest is on the way. Rogue trying to hunt down any stray overlords. Oh, we see why. So this is a standard build, but Rogue is going for Link Flood. And because Reynor skipped his Bailey nest, Reynor is vulnerable. This could kill, straight up. Rogue, did he see? He may have got, yeah, with the Overlord, he may have seen the lack of buildings here, lack of setup at the wall. We're banking Lings, and this can end the game. This can just straight up end the game. Without defensive Bailings, what does Reynor have to defend? Nothing. He's got Link Queen. Here come the Bailings. Here comes the bust. Reynor's droning, and it's going to be Reynor's turn to be caught with his pants down. we're taking turns back. We're taking turns. Last game, Rogue made the mistake of droning. This game, Reynor's also making the mistake of droning. Here we go. Oh, Bailey's the scene. Here comes the Link Flood. Rogue is completely all in. He's down over 10 workers. Either Rogue kills Reynor, he dies trying. And Reynor, he does try to fully wall off. The star base is forfeit. Rogue, can he break that natural ramp though? Reynor's trying to catch reinforcements instead. Yeah, he's trying to catch him, making his own Zerglings. There is going to be a transfuse. Wow, okay, there's a transfuse. Very quick wall here. Reynor, so far, he's holding on. Ooh, we gotta be careful. Don't want to waste our Bailings. We don't want to waste them. And the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Reynor. My assumption was that this wall would not finish up and that Rogue would be able to get into the bases. But remember, Reynor, he was able to scout this a little bit earlier. He was able to react with his full wall. And so far, this is not worth it for Rogue. Rogue, this needs to get more damage done. Like, this is a big investment. Rogue is still behind economically. And the all-in fails. Oof. Yeah, the aggression fails here for Rogue. He killed an expansion, but, I mean, Reynor has a pocket base. Like, it's fine. Specifically on this map, losing that third base means less. It does mean less. And now Reynor's getting into his own upgrades. +1 range is on the way. Lair is finishing up to get into Roach speed. Reynor could even go into Mutas if he wanted to. I think Mutas would be the correct call, assuming, making the assumption that Reynor is ahead. But we'll see. Lair did just finish. Roach speed is on the way. Reynor should have an overload in position. Reynor, he should have seen the Lings moving in this direction. But he does not see the rocks being knocked down. Uh-oh.
Under attack.
Again, this is relatively common on this map. Reynor focusing on the aggression, does take down all the banelings. Queens are going down at the same time, though the wall has been broken. And Rogi floods in. Yeah, he floods into the bases here. Reynor, he did not have an overload in position. He should have. Roaches are popping out. Queen gets surrounded. Reynor does pull away. Nice splits. Up, up. Oh my god, he gets 4. Yeah, 4 drones go down. Reynor, he holds, and across the map, he kills 4 drones as well. He kills 4 workers. Reynor even kills a queen. So he does defend in the end. He defends, he holds. And I believe Reynor should have that roach lead, and he does. He's got his mass roach. Knocking down these rocks was able to at least get some economic damage, and this is better than nothing for Rogue, but Rogue is still far behind. Rogue is still playing catch-up. And here we go, Roach Speed kicks in. Roach Speed is done, +1 range as well. Reynor, he's up in upgrades. He's up in army, he's up in economy. And he's pushing. He's pushing out across the map, looking at the units tab here. We do see Reynor, he's got almost double the roach count of his opponent. Ooh, catching out the roaches here. You can see that Rogue is trying to buy time and lure the army away, but this is an expensive move here from Rogue. Losing so many roaches in the process. And Reynor can just keep rallying. They just keep rallying, catching out more roaches. Pivoting back around, and GG. GG gets called. Reynor, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew, yeah. And again, Rogue, it was a cheeky build. It was a cheeky build, and I thought it was going to work as well. Winding it back, remember, how did this all begin? Reynor skipped his Baneling Nest. Reynor was very greedy at the start of this game. He skipped his Baneling Nest, so he was vulnerable to a Link Flood, and Rogue was going for a Link Bane all-in. He was going for the all-in. He went across the map. Now, he was scattered barely ahead of time. Reynor, he saw the Banelings in the center of the map, and he saw the Link move out, and Reynor responded with a full wall, right? He fully walled off. I mean, I say full wall. It was 2 Evo Chambers, a Roach one, and a Queen. So he was able to wall off his ramp, and my assumption was that Rogue was going to be able to break it anyway, that he was going to be able to break through that ramp, but Rogue, he settled for the 3rd, so he fell behind, because Rogue cut a lot of workers. He was down, what, 11, 12 drones. He was down a lot of workers. He was down in economy. He was down in tech. He had to kill, and he settled for killing the 3rd base, which was not good enough to recover, right? It wasn't good enough to make up for his investment, and Rogue fell behind. Rogue, he fell behind from that moment. GG, well played, and with that, Reynor takes a 2-0 lead, and I'm hoping for a back and forth. I want a game 4, I want a game 5, I want, regardless of who wins the series, I want an ace match, but the pressure is on Rogue. Let's go. Gonna be loading into Winter Madness. Gonna be loading on in. And I get impressive reactions out of Reynor. What should have been punished, I mean, he was not. And that doesn't bode well, I'll be honest. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the series. But spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Italian Zerg player, we have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series 2-0. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, we have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Let's go. Whew. Let us go. Welcome to another one of these larger maps. Now, this map is not as defensive and it's not as macro-oriented as Celestial Enclave, but it's up there. It's definitely up there nonetheless. You know, it's a larger map, longer rush distance by ground, defendable, natural, 3rd and 4th expansions, and we often do see a lot of mid-game. The reality is that so far this series, we've had a lot of fast games. A lot of decisive builds, a lot of aggression out of both Reynor and Rogue. And Rogue has been struggling. He has been struggling here, so it's going to be the pressure's on Rogue, right? The pressure's on Rogue to make a decision. How do we adjust? How do we open up? Do we play safe? Do we be aggressive? Do we be greedy? How does Rogue begin that comeback? So far, Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener. Because Rogue is behind, I mean, he is one to take a risk and to take a chance, that is true. But I'm not so sure you can against Reynor. Referring to cutting corners and being greedy. Do we finally get a standard macro game? Do we finally get a standard macro game? Well, we'll see. We'll see. As the players are calming down, overlords are being sent out across the map, getting vision here on main attack paths. Are getting vision. From here, we're building up into link speed. Hold on. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was losing my mind for a moment. So link speed is on the way. Once again, we pull one out of gas for Rogue. We pull one out for... Oh. No. Hello, Reynor. Reynor, he pulls two out. Okay. So we mentioned this earlier, and if you remember, Cyril did this. Cyril did this yesterday. So pulling an extra worker out of gas tells us that there's a higher chance that Reynor, he wants to prioritize mineral income because he is going to be delaying his baneling nest and going for an earlier link flood. That's typically what this means. So delayed banelings, earlier link flood, earlier aggression out of Reynor is what we are assuming with this build. As it does make a wave of links. As you can see, yep, 4 more links on the way. These should be drones, right? These should, at this stage of the game, you should be droning, but you can see that Reynor, he's banking up more Zerglings. Oh, he doesn't delay his nest, but there it is. 14 lings are on the way. Reynor, he is going for the link flood. He's committing. He's doubling down. Remember, Reynor, he's behind economically. And Rogue is making a safety amount of lings back at home. He sees. Yeah, he does see the Zerglings. He knows. 18 lings are on the way. Rogue, he has not been overly greedy. He has the tools to defend. Now, I assume that Reynor's baneling nest would be a little bit more delayed, and it is later than Rogue's, but not by too much. It's mainly about the Zerglings. As Reynor does poke in, distracting Rogue. Now, behind this Reynor, he is droning. Reynor's droning up. Reynor's catching up economically. He is catching up. He's forcing a big reaction here out of Rogue. As Rogue has 20 lings on the way. Jesus. There's a lot of Zerglings. Does move out for the counterattack. Nice reaction here by Reynor, buying more time. And where the defensive banelings are on the way. Okay, they're on the way back at home. Here we go. Rogue has been triggered a counterattack. Reynor out of position. Oh my god, massive connection. Yeah, Reynor, he was caught out. And Reynor's in trouble. He's now in trouble here. Oh, waste the baneling. Yeah, Reynor, he took a baneling to the face. He wastes another. We have more banelings coming in. Remember, Rogue, he had more gas income than Reynor. Ooh, and Reynor, he's falling apart. Goes across the map, takes another baneling to the face. Nice connection there by Reynor, finally. Oh, can he save the baneling? No, he cannot. Doesn't save it. But again, some cheeky moves out of Reynor. Morphing in 4 banelings back at home. Like as Rogue, he's going to be waddling in. He's got a lot of banelings. Reynor has to split. He does have to split here. The Queens have moved forward to zone away the banelings. And Reynor's holding. Whew, okay, Reynor, he does hold on. A very intense early game here where Reynor was almost caught out. Some really rough moments there and rough micro from Reynor. But but he does survive. He does survive. At the same time, Lings, they get across the map. They get 3 drone kills. 4! Oh my god! 4 drones go down. Reynor takes a worker lead, and both players are droning. So after a very, very intense early game, we're calming down, we're droning up, we're saturating. And getting into the mid game here, Reynor takes a lead. I say he takes a lead, he's taking up, but he gets scouted. So Roach Horn's on the way, gases are on the way, checking Rogue's vision. I believe he saw. Yep, he did see all the tech, did see the gases. He knows. He's aware. Right now, both players still just saturating. Lairs are on the way. Rogue already had his own Roach Horn. And we're getting into the mid game. Because Reynor's been playing catch up, Reynor, he has no Eva chamber. So no chamber, no upgrades. That's a little bit of a tell. You see Roki goes in to get a full scout. Checking behind the mineral line. Sees no Evo chamber. So upon the scout, Rogue knows that he's ahead. He's ahead when it comes to the upgrades, right? He's ahead when it comes to +1. So he just has to calm down and hit with +1. Oh. Circling, dipping into the natural. Doesn't scout the main. I was about to say that for Reynor, for all he knows, it could be a Spire, and there it is, Spire behind the main base. We're both. Let's go. If you remember, I assumed it was going to be Muta versus Muta on Celestial. We're seeing Muta versus Muta here on Winter Madness. The Muta War is Pappy. Let's go. Alright, let's go. We do see a slightly ahead for Rogue, but only slightly. As I mentioned before, typically +1 at flyer attack is superior if you have the higher Muta counts, but here it's going to be close enough where Carapace is more ideal. Assuming we invest into mass Muta, true. Like, the other option here is that it's only a handful of Mutas and then we switch into mass Roaches. Both players are getting into Roach speed. But Rogue, he chose not to get the upgrade. That's the big tell here. The fact that he never got +1 despite having a very fast Evo chamber tells us that most likely he will commit into more and more Mutas. As he is saving all that gas. And there we go, we have 9 Mutas on the way. And we should be seeing even more. This is a bold move. Again, Rogue, there we go. He does cancel +1 fire attack going into +1 defense. He scouts. Yeah, he does scouts. So he does need that defense instead. I believe Reynor has no idea. Yeah, Reynor, he has yet to confirm. He knows he's been scouted, true. Reynor, he's aware. Roaches, they move out across the map. And Mutas are revealed. Oof. Yeah, Reynor, he's deflected. Remember, he's investing into the range upgrades. Reynor's in a rough position. And Rogue, he gains map control. He's even catching out these Roaches. They're an A move. Yeah, they're an A move. They're going to be shut down. And Reynor, he's in so much trouble here. Losing his army. Losing map control. Losing momentum. Does lose that momentum. Without the queens, Reynor can try to hold on here, but he is stuck at home. Stuck at home, stuck defending. More Mutas are amassing. Better engage here for Reynor, true. Oof. Bailing's oh no, they get into the mineral line. Drones are stacking. 8 drones already go down. They make their way into the main. Oof. Getting 1 extra worker. And so far, this is looking like the beginning of the comeback. Rogue, he's up when it comes to Mutas. He's up in economy. The one thing that Rogue doesn't have is, of course, upgrades supporting his ground army. But that doesn't really matter. Like, Mutas, they maintain map control. They maintain control. Oof. And you can just fight this head on. Yeah, you can just fight this head on. Even with these queens and trainers used, it's not going to be enough. As Rogue, he will dominate the skies. Catching at the Baneling nest. Nice run by, true. Nice run by getting into the mineral lines, and drones are under fire, getting some economic damage. I mean, this is nice and all, but there's still no answer to the Mutas. That's the real issue. Oof, yeah, big supply block. Reynor, he's desperate, going for the base trade. Sending his army across the map. Fun fact, Reynor, he only has a slight Roach lead here. Gotta be careful. Does have the better upgrades though, true. Yeah, it does have the better upgrades. Meanwhile, the natural base is forfeit. The Roach Horn is going to be exposed as well. Reynor's trying to fight with the Spore. He's trying. But he should never win this fight. Like, Reynor, he can never fully engage. You know, Roaches, they do get into the mineral lines. The best chance that Reynor has is to cripple the economy and build up his own Mutas. But no, he gets caught out. Yeah, he gets caught out. Rogue once again takes down all the queens. If he wants to, he can just kill the Spore. And he will. Oh, does not focus on the spore. Oh, gotta be careful. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It still fights out of range. No spore at the third base. Nah, yeah, there's a spore. Across the map, Reynor, he's killing a lot of workers. He's doing a lot of damage, which is nice and all, but it does not matter. Not in the face of mass muta. Doesn't matter, Pat. We still have 29 mutas to 10 mutas for Reynor. If we had more spores, then maybe, but that's the one spore is waddling in. And we have a series. We have a series, Pappy. That's where he got away with his mutas. He got away with it. With that just collapsing in the army, fighting head on. Cleans up all the mutas, cleans up all the queens, and snowballs out of control. GG gets called, and Rogue, it does fight back. It does force a game 4. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Winding it back again, both players were in similar positions and similar situations, but we saw that Reynor, he was investing quite heavily into things that were not mutas. He was going into +1 range, he was going to +1 melee, he was building up his roach counter, spending gas elsewhere. So even though both players were going for the Spire, one player was going mass muta, the other was not. So Rogue, he was able to overwhelm and just surpass Reynor and just dominate the map, gain map control, keep Reynor busy. Reynor, sure, he was able to counterattack with his ground army, but that's all he could really do. Kill a couple of workers, then GG. GG, well played. With that, we have a series here. We have a back and forth. It will not be a 3-0, and we'll see if Rogue can force the ace match. Let's go. Gonna be loading into Taito Citadel. We are going to be loading in and spawning in the top left-hand corner here of title. We have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. That's where he does begin the comeback. And again, can he force that ace match? But now both players are going to be opening up. Going hatch gas pool, everything's looking normal, and welcome to Taito Citadel, another one of these larger maps. Larger map of the map pool. One of the biggest features here is how drawn out or how isolated these bases are. The third base locations are very spread out. They're very, very spread out. The distance between them is longer than on other maps, so trying to reactively defend and rotate defensively between these bases can be more difficult if you're lacking map vision and map control, or just map awareness. In ZvZ, it's something that comes quite easily. Like, there should be overlords everywhere, and both players should be able to keep up with their rotations. Should be able to. Here we go. Again, from here we are building up, taking our gases, getting into our spawning pools. We'll keep an eye on whether or not we do pull out a gas. Remember, last game did begin with Reynor going for a link flood, and he didn't do enough damage with it, if you recall. He went for a big link flood, and Rogue, he was able to keep up with his aggression. Rogue did not overdrone. So Reynor did have a rough opener last game. From here we're still saturating. There you go, we do pull one at a gas for a Rogue. Likewise, Reynor stays in. Oh, waiting a little bit longer here, but no, yeah, Reynor, he's staying in gas. This is a big tell here for Reynor. There's a higher chance now that he does go for a Bane Bust or for a Roach Rush. So excess gas here for Reynor. And now we see what the gas is for. I was waiting for either a Baneliness or a Roach Warren. It is going to be the early Evo Chamber. Okay, now this is an Evo Chamber after after speed is halfway done. So I would say there's a lower chance this is for +1 melee, and most likely it's +1 carapace. But we'll see how this all comes together. Like, it could be carapace and we just skip banelings. Yep, there it is. Carapace is on the way. Typically, if it's +1 melee, the Evo Chamber would be earlier. Usually, you want the Evo Chamber lined up with speed. I should say a +1 melee lined up with speed. So here we go. We have the Carapace on the way. No Bailey Nest. Bailey Nest is now done for Rogue. And Reynor's Link Flooding. Reynor, he's going for the all-in. Now, when it comes to this Link Flood, because of the Carapace upgrade, he can tank a Baneling. That is true. Banelings will no longer one-shot Lings. They will not one-shot. So Baneling is going to be a little bit less effective. Still useful, but just less effective. And Rogue is droning. Ooh, Rogue is droning. Rogue is teching. Link Scout is denied. Rogue trying to figure out what's going on. Setting out another Zergling. I'll send out another. Reynor, he's all over this. Denying the scouts. Reynor, he's joining up a little bit behind this again. Remember, he's waiting for +1 Carapace to finish. And then he should commit. Up! Yeah, as one Zergling does slip in. Rogue gets into the main. Yeah, Reynor does slip up, and Rogue, he sees the Evo Chamber. He knows. Yeah, now he's fully aware of +1 Carapace. Back at home, we need roaches defensively. We're going to get ready. Rogue getting his own chamber. Building up his gases. Reynor, his own roach production has begun. And Rogue, can he keep up? Now, thankfully, Rogue droned. Rogue, he did drone up to 47, but he shouldn't be droning up too much more from here. More than anything, we need army. Oh my god. Does catch a couple of Lings. Spots the army, pulls away. Reynor, he's droning up behind this. You can see he's revealing all these roaches, but it's a fake out. So this is a fake out here by Reynor. Reynor knows he's been scouted. He knows that Rogue should be ready. And Reynor, he just pokes out and drones up behind this and saturates. Reynor shouldn't commit here. Yeah, this is a bit of an overextension. He should not commit. I believe that's losing one. Yeah, Reynor does lose one roach. Ooh, Spire's on the way. Smart move here by Rogue. I mean, I say smart move. So, Rogue, this is a really good way to capitalize on the greater tech. True. Like, this is a really good way to try to end the game. The problem is that Reynor, as he was posturing, was droning. It was a fake out. Rogue knows that it was a fake out. And now Reynor's actually committing. So, Reynor's going to be cutting workers here at 53. You have Lings amassing, Roaches, Ravagers, +1 Rangers on the way. Reynor, he is going to push, and it's going to hit quite hard. He's essentially going for an all-in. Lings, they scout a Gas Geyser. They spot the army. Rogue knows. Yeah, Rogue, he knows. Reynor, he does pull the trigger. And Rogue is in danger. Rogue is in trouble. Here comes the all-in. Rogue did drone up. He was preserving resources. The Spire is not going to come into play. Oh, Reynor getting caught though. Yeah, where are the Banelings? Where are the Banelings? Banelings are now waddling in. Reynor, he has to pull away. There's still 2 Banelings left. Yeah, there's still 2 Banelings. Oh my god, Lings, they do run past. Catching reinforcements. Nice movement here out of Reynor. And there's 1 Baneling left. Oh my god, does not connect. That does graze the army. And now we commit. Yeah, the boys are being pulled. Roaches are going down, and Reynor, he's breaking through. Oh, the Biles. Deny 3 roaches. And Reynor has done it. Reynor, he has done it. He has broken the 3rd base again. Rogue, he was just a little bit too greedy. He was droning up too much. He tanked up too much as well. He believed he was safe to do so, but he wasn't safe, Pappy. Yeah, it was not safe. And with that, Reynor, he has broken the 3rd. Now pushing into the natural and going for the kill. Going for the kill. Again, shout out to, a big shout out to Reynor's control when it came to his Zerglings. A very nice control to avoid those Banelings, to catch reinforcements. As you mentioned, Rogue, he had droned. He was taking up into mutas. was getting ready for a longer game. And what do we say? He was caught with his the pants were down, Pappy. Once again, the pants were down to Rogue. Critical damage to the natural. 20 drone kills. 20 drones going down. And even these roaches are amassing won't be enough. It will not be enough. And again, Rogue, he saw the all-in coming ahead of time. He thought he was safe to drone up. GG gets called, and Reynor will claim the series 3-1, claiming third place at LiuLi Cup, the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Again, a hyper-aggressive series between these two players. We never saw a single macro game. You could say the closest one was the Muta game previously in Winter Madness, but even then it was hyper-aggression early on, which did fail for Reynor, and he did fall behind. Here we saw that Reynor went for the early Eva Chamber, and Rogue eventually scouted. He eventually got into the main base. He eventually saw the Eva Chamber. He knew that it was going to be +1 carapace. He knew that it was going to be an all-in timing, and Rogue, he was getting ready for it. Reynor went for a fake out, droned up initially, and went for a later all-in. Rogue thought he was safe after deflecting, and Rogue thought that Reynor was droning. He thought that it was droning. He thought that he was macroing. Reynor was not. He was not macroing up. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, Reynor, he does claim that series. Congratulations to Reynor. Unfortunately, as we mentioned before, he cannot progress further into the tournament, but does at least cement himself as third in this event in the bracket. GG, well played. With that, we can switch our teams over and catch up on the bracket itself. Again, Rogue, he did an amazing job making it this far, I'll be honest. I was favoring Trigger, for example, in the previous series in the quarterfinals, but for Rogue to make it through the group stage and to make it into the bronze match was very impressive. Very impressive play there by Rogue to make it that far. Meanwhile, up next, we do have the main event. We have the grand finals. It's going to be best of 7. Best of 7 ZvZ between Maru and Serral. And I feel like it's going to be a very long series. I'll be maybe not necessarily because of the scoreline, but because of the games themselves. If you were here yesterday for Maru versus Reynor, you would know that that series was like 2 hours. Those 3 games were like 3 hours long. It was like an hour each game. It was crazy. It was a very, very long series. Maru was playing very defensive, very turtley. I mean, he is the best turtle player in the world. Like 100%. Like Maru, you don't get better than Maru when it comes to just walling up, turtling up, slowing the game down, taking the advantages away from your opponents, specifically their speed, and being able to force your kind of game state instead, right? Like that's where Maru's at his best, and I can see him doing that against Serral as well. I will say that Serral is usually one that is more patient than Reynor, and he's more willing to embrace that kind of game state as well, more so than Reynor at least. So I do think Serral's going to be a little bit better suited here, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, we're going to be cutting to a break. We're going to be cutting to a break, and when we come back, we'll have the final series. We'll have the grand finals, a best of 7 between Maru and Serral. We'll see you soon. See you soon after the break.